In 1996, Pokemon was daring. Since then, the core Pokemon games have mostly stuck to the pattern established by those first games, developing a sense of familiarity with steady, light iteration. Pokemon Legends Arceus breaks that iterative pattern, attempting to establish a new foundation, while borrowing bits and pieces from the main Pokemon games to create something new. The result is sometimes messy and doesn't always work, but its distinct qualities set it apart from the core series and ultimately elevate it. Though it's a spin-off, Pokemon Legends Arceus isn't lending the Pokemon trappings to an entirely different set of mechanics, like the Mystery Dungeon or Stadium series. Instead, this game reimagines Pokemon's core mechanics, finding and catching Pokemon and battling with them, within the new context of exploring vast open spaces. Legends Arceus takes place long before the modern games, at a time when Pokemon haven't become integrated into daily life as pets and pack animals. There's a sense that the wilderness here is dangerous, and the villagers treat Pokemon like fearsome wild beasts. The exception to this is the Survey Corps, a small band of burgeoning scientists working underneath the local security forces. An ever-present rift in the sky appears to be driving Pokemon berserk, including larger-than-life sacred Pokemon that are given special reverence and protection by the local Diamond and Pearl tribes. As a stranger in a strange land with no other options, you join up with the Survey Corps in hopes of solving the mystery of the rift. The Survey Corps' day-to-day work is building the first Pokédex, a paper-bound notebook that compiles all of the region's accumulated Pokemon knowledge. Completing your Pokédex is always the goal of Pokemon games, but it's usually an incidental secondary goal to collecting new Pokemon in order to train them for battles. In Arceus, completing the Pokédex is front and center, reintroducing it as a pivotal goal that connects everything you do, including how you progress through the game. Though the process of completing the Pokédex involves similar mechanics to what's found in the mainline Pokemon games, Legends Arceus makes it a bit more involved. You can see Pokemon wandering freely around the open environments, but you don't necessarily need to do battle to engage them. You can quietly sneak up on them and toss a Pokeball at them. That's often enough to catch them, so you go through Pokeballs quickly, dozens in a single trip, building out your collection. The controls behind this binary approach, stealth versus attack, capturing versus initiating a battle, can be disorienting. The trigger button is used to toss whatever you have at the ready, and you toggle between a menu of Pokeballs and caught Pokemon using the X button. It's fairly intuitive most of the time, cycling through your arsenal and then aiming a shot, but in the heat of the moment it's easy to waste a Pokeball when you meant to start a battle, or worse, to start a battle when you were trying to be sneaky. In a mainline Pokemon game, simply catching a Pokemon would fill out its Pokédex entry, but that's not the case here. Since you're building the first Pokédex, and since the stealth catch mechanic lends itself to quicker finds, completing a Pokédex entry involves completing a series of tasks. A Pokédex sheet will outline tasks, often with multiple tiers, like catching a certain number of Pokemon, defeating a certain number, and so on. Once you've completed a number of these tasks, you can turn in your findings and the Pokédex entry is considered complete. It's a remarkably flexible system that lets you play Pokemon your own way. If you love to do Pokemon battles, you can make almost all of your progress just fighting wild monsters. If you'd rather focus on stealth and barely engage with battles at all, that option's available too. At first, I found myself obsessively checking my Pokédex tasks and steering myself towards min-maxing completion. But after a while, I found it was much more enjoyable to just wander the world stealth catching and battling as I felt like it, and then letting the chips fall where they may for Pokédex completion. Unfortunately, campaign progress gating is also gated to completing Pokédex survey results. The Survey Corps gives star rankings that level up as you gain research points for completing tasks and filling out Pokédex entries. New environments open up as you progress through the story, but between each major story point, you need to rank up to the next star level. That meant for the first few star ranks, I was stuck needing to go over areas I had already explored extensively, grinding to progress enough to proceed. Later in the game, once I gained access to a larger selection of environments, and had access to mounts that made new areas reachable, it was much easier to progress without feeling like I had to go back over a previous area with a fine-tooth comb. The battle system is possibly the most recognizable aspect from previous Pokemon games, with each Pokemon in Legends Arceus only being able to equip a total of 4 moves at a time, and all the usual rock, paper, scissors elemental matchups intact. But needing to know the finer nuances to type matchups is de-emphasized in Arceus, to the point where moves are just listed as effective, super effective, not very effective, and no effect from the start. More recent Pokemon games have included this feature, and I appreciate the help as someone who does not have the brain space to keep track of every move matchup, but it has previously kept those hints gated behind having a completed Pokédex entry. In Pokemon Legends Arceus, that rough edge is sanded down to be even smoother, since you'll see them all listed right away, even the first time you ever encounter a new Pokemon. You can also get into an encounter against multiple Pokemon, sometimes just through sheer luck by starting a battle in the middle of a crowd of wild creatures. These moments can feel appropriately harrowing, since you can still only have one monster out at a time, and sometimes you'll simply run into a Pokemon far above your level, including red-eyed alpha Pokemon that are larger and more powerful than the average for their species. If you can catch them, they're essentially the apex predators of their type, with a requisite stat bump. Adding a small but sometimes vital wrinkle to the battle system is the option to make any of your attacks agile or strong. An agile attack sacrifices some strength for speed, which sometimes lets you attack twice before your opponent can respond. Conversely, a strong attack will pack some extra punch, but it might slow you down enough that your opponent can act twice. An optional battle timeline shows when the turns will occur, so you can see how swapping between agile and strong moves will affect the turn order. This adds an extra layer of creativity and strategy, especially once you start supplementing less effective attacks with strong style because you want to inflict a status effect, or using agile style on a super effective attack to finish off an opponent quickly. A series of boss battles called Frenzy Battles are also a significant change from the Pokemon norm. These large-scale conflicts tie into the story as you work with each Pokemon's caretaker warden to learn what kinds of foods they like, so you can make special balms. You then go into a distinct arena where you have to dodge the rampaging Pokemon's attacks and hit it with bombs, only occasionally sending out your own Pokemon to stun it long enough that you can rapid fire more bombs at it. Sating these beasts by juggling the priorities of active dodging, looking for open opportunities to throw, and then mixing in traditional Pokemon battles is the most exciting the series has been in years. The wardens and the leaders of their clans are standout personalities in Legends Arceus, introducing a totally new cast of characters, but keeping the focus relatively small. Pokemon games often have a fairly sprawling cast of friends, professors, gym leaders, Elite Four members, and the champion, and we rarely get to know any of them particularly well. In Legends Arceus, there are less than a dozen main characters, and we spend much more time with them, getting to know their personalities and how they clash with each other. There's not a massive amount of depth to the story and characters, but I still got attached to these cute anime kids. The world is presented similar to Breath of the Wild, but this game's distinctly separate zones don't quite match the sprawling openness of that Zelda game. They're still rather large, and it captures that same sense of wonder, but it's not the same level of impressive technical feat. Pokemon Legends Arceus also seems to be straining against the technical limitations of the Nintendo Switch at times, even among these smaller environments. Pieces of world geometry pop in and out somewhat regularly, and bodies of water in the sky show texture repetition that's hard not to notice. It's a testament to the quality of the game that those issues only slightly detracted from my enjoyment. Some of the new ideas in Arceus have rough edges, and it's a slow start before you get access to many environments and mounts. This is an awkward first step, and it was a big adjustment for me as a longtime fan. Once Pokemon Legends Arceus finds its stride though, it's the most daring and inventive the series has been in years, breaking apart the staid core and creating something new and exciting from its pieces.
Pokemon Legends Arceus has been such a refreshing take on the Pokemon formula, dramatically changing what we've gotten used to over the last 25 years, introducing new elements for players to explore. I've beaten the game and am well into the endgame now, and I've compiled together some interesting things that I've noticed during my playtime. If you have any Easter eggs or anything notable that I missed, drop them in the comments below. I might even grab them and make a part 2 of this video. A quick note that there will be spoilers from the story, so keep that in mind. Here are 12 things you didn't know about Pokemon Legends Arceus. Be sure to sub to the channel and like this video while you're at it. Now let's dive in. As you progress through the campaign and save the Hisui region's various noble Pokemon from their mysterious frenzy, you'll also come across wardens that teach you how to use these mounts. These mounts have a variety of benefits, with the key bonus being that you'll be able to access areas that were previously out of reach. You'll start off with the Wurdeer, and then eventually an Ursaluna, Basculegion, Sneasler, and finally a Braviary. One cool thing that you can do though, is you can swap these mounts on the fly without having to get on and off each time. You can simply press the D-pad to change your mount at any given moment, and if you were already on a mount and happen to go into the water for example, you'll immediately swap. Being in the air or in freefall, or even near a cliffside will also give you a button prompt to mount the right Pokemon for the terrain. You know, sometimes Pokemon break out of their Pokeballs. That is a sad fact of life. However, there is a tight window of time where you can immediately throw another Pokeball for a second chance catch. The best way to secure this chance is by keeping a Pokeball at the ready. As soon as the Pokemon breaks free, you can toss a ball at it before it even notices you and either enrages or flees. The animation for the Pokeball is slightly different from the OG games. Historically, the Pokeball is supposed to shake and wobble before being caught, usually 3 times throughout most of the past games. In Legends Arceus, the Pokeball will dramatically pop up in the air and emit steam clouds. You can get a quick gauge on the catch rate and probability of the wild Pokemon being caught based on the amount of steam. High probability catches look like only 1 cloud of steam is emitted and the ball only gives a little pop in the air, while alpha Pokemon and other more difficult to catch Pokemon will emit up to 3 clouds of steam, with the Pokeball launching super high up. Now, suppose you need a nice break from the countless quests, cutscenes, and all the Paras trying to murder you. In that case, you can hang out with your Pokemon in the overworld, but not near wild Pokemon. Just find a bit of free space and throw your Pokemon to spawn out and then stay within the vicinity of them. You can even interact with them and speak with them. It's also not limited to just one Pokemon either. Toss out your entire team and watch them all engage with each other. You can even have your Pokemon interact with those nearby NPCs, such as the Wurmple or Cascoon in Jubilife. Throw out a Dustox and see what it does. Now, some areas, such as the Alabaster Icelands, will have dynamic weather like hail or snowstorms. Other areas may have rain. If you need to change the weather, all you have to do is simply rest at your camp. Weather can be a boon if you have Pokemon moves that match the type, but it can also be detrimental if you're using ineffective moves. For example, my Typhlosion was having trouble using effective fire moves since the area had a lot of rain. But a quick camp rest until the rain subsided, and now we're back to our regular strength. Now this is an important one, because historically, any Pokemon involved in a battle would get XP once the opposing Pokemon fainted. This means you would normally get XP up to 6 times per battle. However, that's all been streamlined now, and your entire team will receive a cumulative XP total at the end of an encounter. Most of your encounters will be with wild Pokemon, so this is not an issue. Still, on the rare occasion that you encounter a noble or battle a trainer, be sure to keep in mind that if any of your Pokemon are fainted by the end, they will not receive any XP regardless of their contributions throughout the battle. Being poisoned, paralyzed, or asleep used to be a major annoyance after a battle ended, but now all status effects are temporary. Whether you use an agile, normal, or strong move, a status effect will have a certain number of turns before it wears out. Using a status move again will refresh the counter. You can also overwrite certain status effects, for example, causing a burned enemy to now be paralyzed. Maybe you're using Stealth Rock and you realize, wait, this works more like Whirlpool or Fire Spin from the older games. Or maybe you notice that the base power and accuracy of certain moves are slightly different. Well, you're right. Pokemon moves have had a dramatic rework in Legends Arceus. For example, you might not know that pulse moves like Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, and Water Pulse now have a 100% accuracy rate, and any kind of slashing move has a high crit rate regardless of what it is. This means that Dragon Claw and X-Scissor now benefit from a higher crit rate chance that used to be exclusive to a move like Slash. Most of these reworks make sense since there is no PvP battling in Legends Arceus. Some of these changes are really awesome though. Self-Destruct, for example, no longer completely faints your Pokemon. Instead, it deals closer to like 80% of self-damage. And huge destructive moves like Giga Impact or Hyper Beam no longer require a recharge either, which is wild. So you can just unleash the move back to back. Moves like Rollout or Outrage don't lock you into using the same move, but instead now state that your Pokemon is simply fixated on the move, meaning that using it again will gain a damage boost. But it's not mandatory. Not only are the moves some of the biggest changes with lots of hidden traits, but their animations look sick as hell too. At some point near the end of the main campaign, you will have a choice to be accompanied by either the Diamond or Pearl clan leader as you embark on the Red Chain main request. Depending on who you pick, that will decide which legendary Pokemon you catch first, and which you will have to battle with bombs in a noble style boss battle. In my playthrough, I picked the Pearl clan, and I came face to face with Palkia, eventually going back to Dialga later in the story to see that Dialga actually adopted a cool origin style form during the noble boss battle. So, if you prefer to battle Palkia in that climactic battle at the end instead, and end up using the origin ball on it, make sure that you pick the Diamond clan when given the option. This way, Palkia comes later. Regardless of who you pick, you will have the option to catch both legendaries, a first for Diamond and Pearl. By default, your Wi-Fi connection will be off when playing Legends Arceus. Be sure to turn it on. That way other players can return your lost satchels, which are important in netting MP points. You can use the MP points later to buy evolution stones or evolution items such as Thunderstones, Reaper Claws, Metal Coats, and so much more. As you go through the game's story, you'll unlock several different locations such as the Coronet Highlands or the Cobalt Coastland. If you save the game and fully back out and exit, you'll be greeted by a curated menu screen the next time you log in. The classic Pokemon Legends Arceus logo will appear on the right, with an image on the left of the last section of the region that your character saved its progress in. Alright, this is a fun one. There's a photo booth in Jubilife where you can go in and pose for the camera, even putting on this old-timey filtered lens to give it a old-fashioned and historical look. Talk to the photographer and change your pose or expression. You can even get your Pokemon out there too to pose with you, and hilariously, you can have your Pokemon play dead, and it looks pretty damn funny. Simply select the option for your Pokemon as you set up the photo, and enjoy. Now, trust me when I say there are a lot more things on this list that I'm saving up for a part 2, so if you want to see more and are interested in Pokemon Legends Arceus, please let me know. Sound off with anything you've picked up on during your playtime and I'll throw them in a future list video. Meanwhile, do me a solid and check out some of our other Pokemon guides and reviews, and for everything else, be sure to stay with GameSpot. Until next time.
We are now approaching our destination. Vast energy anomaly detected.
creature wanders restlessly through the darkness. Silver light illuminates the land and the mountains, and with an entranced roar, it shows its true form.
Leave the beast to me. This is a royal matter. We shall be in port soon. This is our outpost, El Garden.
HQ 接敵した距離50対象は北東に向かって移動中遅れ
こちら本部了解した作戦を開始せよ
了解射撃用意撃て対戦車砲用意撃てHQ 対象は見て効果は見られない理解し効果は見られない
It seems I'm unfashionably late, but I'm ready to give you everything you want. Right on time. Let's dance. Smash!
Over the past 5 years, Breath of the Wild has been broken apart pretty thoroughly by players with constant discoveries of new glitches. One of the most sought after by far is weapon duplication. With the addition of the weapon durability system that Nintendo implemented that causes weapons to break easily, players have wanted this glitch more than ever, and we've achieved it. But just how many ways are there to do this? Most players think of just menu overloading, the most popular method by far, but there are tons of variations of this and many other strange methods you may not know. So if you want more Breath of the Wild videos from us, let us know by liking this one. Let's start with one method that's not quite as well known, bone arm duplication. By breaking apart a stall enemy and taking their arm just as they pick it up, the game will think that you took the weapon, but you are technically empty-handed. So by switching your weapon and taking the arm back, the game thinks that you have the arm equipped, but you have a different one instead, which is called inventory desync. Throw the weapon in your hand on the ground, and since it thinks that you threw the bone arm, the duplicate weapon is then created. Shock trap duplication was found early in Breath of the Wild's life, and made farming for weapons with specific modifiers much easier. By swinging a shock weapon and dropping it mid-swing on something metallic, its infinite shock effects continually disarm enemies when placed beneath their feet. So by resting at a campfire, the enemy will repeatedly drop the weapon over and over each new day, making a mountain pile of dropped weapons. Menu overloading is one of the most used glitches, with its versatility of duplicating and transferring durability of different weapons, a glitch that is highly sought after. There are a ton of different ways to trigger this, from enemy encampments using multi-shot shock arrows, dropping multi-shot shock arrows yourself, a mixture of the two, dropping 2 multi-shot shock bows with your back to the wall, and even escaping the final boss fight, then entering and exiting certain areas hundreds of times triggers menu overload. Once overloaded, switching and dropping weapons by throwing, shocking yourself, putting it on a weapon rack, and more lets you duplicate the selected weapon. Octo balloon duplication is one of the newer methods of multiplying your weapons. By having your back to a wall, using magnesis and dropping an octo balloon, this causes a balloon to drop directly beneath your feet. Dropping a weapon on this shortly after can give you a chance to pick up the weapon off the balloon twice, duplicating the weapon. Dynamic object duplication is a much more simple technique, but slightly more tedious time-wise. Normally when opening a treasure chest, it's a one and done deal, and after taking the goods it never appears again. but by bringing any dynamic object, which includes some treasure chests with equipment in them, to map grid spaces over in any direction, opening it then doesn't actually count as taking it out, so it's possible to continuously grab the same item over and over, albeit with a little bit of walking. The next 3 methods are based off the same model teleport mechanic, which is a glitch that confuses the game on where Link's position actually is and giving you a split second to desync equipment on you. One way to trigger this is the horse sliding method. Horse sliding is a glitch that lets you launch off your horse in different ways. This method can be triggered by shield jumping on the rear end of a horse while it's slanted on a hill, riding forward a small distance, then jumping off, launching you backwards towards your original position. But doing this as you overspur your horse, jumping off and throwing a weapon at the same time, then switching quickly desyncs your held weapon. Now your thrown weapon pops out but doesn't leave your inventory because you technically had a different weapon equipped, so it becomes duplicated. The standard model teleport method requires using a horse at a slant, unequipping your shield at a specific moment while Link is tilting sideways, gives you a moment to desync and perform a duplication glitch. Always satisfying to see. Finally, pulse skew duplication is arguably the most difficult duplication technique of all. It consists of getting a specific skew and skew setup to get a reusable skew that flips Link upside down. The combination of damaging yourself with ragdoll glitch engaged confuses the game on where Link's position actually is, and gives you a moment to desync and duplicate the thrown weapon. I've done thousands of glitches over the past several years, but this one was just too tough for me. Oh well. What do you think of these weird methods, and how many of these did you know? Let us know in the comments below, and for everything else gaming, keep it here on GameSpot. After the hustle and bustle of E3, let's slow down to a crawl here, take a deep breath, and take an even closer look at Breath of the Wild sequel. Between cross-referencing both trailers, my personal findings, and people's theories posted online, I have a bit more information about how things will go down in the highly anticipated sequel. This won't be a 100% full breakdown of everything, rather more focused on interesting points that I haven't seen too much talked about yet. We still do Breath of the Wild content to this day, so if you want to see more from us, let us know by liking this video. Now, let's take a closer look. Even though there were only short snippets of the Ganondorf scene in this trailer compared to the first trailer, these small scenes built more context and answers that weren't so clear from the first trailer alone. Using reference points of when Link's arm gets affected by the new entity and the malice, and when we see Ganondorf's malice-filled eyes are active, we can partially piece together what's happening at the beginning of Breath of the Wild sequel. Let's take a short look at my possible version of what happened, then slow it back down. Now let's take a closer look and describe some key scenes. The first one of note is this scene here, where the finger moves. By the way Zelda is acting calmly and the shots before, I'm very sure the seal hand is still on Ganondorf at this point. But the way this is portrayed, it seems Ganondorf has some powers and is able to slightly move while sealed, and or was triggered by the arrival of Link and Zelda, which is understandable. I mean, this is possibly the entirety of the Triforce standing in one room we're talking about here. At this point, something happens and the room starts to shake, likely caused by Ganondorf, and the ground gives way, causing Zelda to fall through. While Link goes to save her, the most important sequence happens next. The seal hand catches Link. Putting 2 and 2 together, this is now highly likely that the seal hand released Ganondorf to try and save Zelda and Link's fall, although now we know that it was only half successful. Now that Ganondorf is free of the hand seal, his eyes of malice come to life, as seen in the next shot of him seemingly summoning more malicious malice from the second trailer. This is likely when Link was attacked, as his right arm is still normal at this time, and all throughout the game, it seems like this arm is fused with a sealing arm, so this arm fusing is definitely the last thing that happens. At this point, it's pretty clear what happens next, with the malice spreading throughout Hyrule Castle, lifting it skyward. It's possible during or after this castle raising sequence that Link then fuses with the entity, fairly likely to cure the malice that damaged his right hand. Since this undergarment definitely gives off more Zonai-ish vibes than his normal blue undergarments in this scene, it's likely he woke up in the sky, which is often shown off with this type of clothing. While this edit gives much more context to the situation, there are obviously many elements missing, so hopefully if another trailer drops in the future, we can further build upon the story. Clearly, something has happened between Link and the Master Sword, as this is the final shot in the small timeline that we have of Link having the Master Sword with him. He has no gauntlet on his arm compared to before, possibly from the previous Malice attack, so this must have happened after this shot. So at this point, it is possible he is unable to wield the Sword of Evil's Bane after being affected by Malice since the sword is sheathed. And since these shots are highly likely to happen in this order of acquiring and then settling in the new arm, it's inferred that Link passed out, and may have lost his equipment against his will, which is an obvious reset point as the beginning of the game. An interesting point with this situation though is if there's ever a problem with the Master Sword or it is misplaced, it returns to the Korok Forest. But in this case, as proven in the trailer, the Deku Tree is gone and even possibly dead in the sequel. So maybe Korok Forest and subsequently the sword pedestal could have problems as well. The fate of the Master Sword is severely unclear at this point. We just don't know how it will appear in the future. While there are many obvious and subtle nods to previous games such as Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, and Skyward Sword, I personally think that Miyazaki influences in themes and tones are too large to ignore. In the original Breath of the Wild, there were already so many things that you could pick out that shows Miyazaki's influences, but the astounding thing is that in just 2 small trailers for the sequel, a game we know barely anything about, we've seen references for 2 of Miyazaki's films multiple times, Princess Mononoke and Castle in the Sky. From roots growing through floating landmasses filled with stone paths, to a pair of explorers going through glowing caves, and cursed tendrils attacking the hero's arm, the nod to Studio Ghibli's work is still undeniable. At this point, it's pretty much confirmed that the mysterious Zonai, or whatever this race's name is, has an integral part in the upcoming sequel. The references to patterns and designs are really hard to miss. The Zonai are an ancient warlike tribe from the Faron region, and architecture from their ruins in the Faron region are sparsely seen throughout Hyrule. Examples such as the Dragon's Breath shield, carvings on the walls, and this pillar design definitely give off Zonai's involvement. Dragons also seem to have some general importance. As the music played at the end of the trailer, half of Zelda's lullaby is played by an erhu. A Chinese instrument that is also used in the dragon's theme. This is telling because there are already theories floating around the dragon's portal, and how that ties into the world above. These themes and locations may hold some importance in the future. One thing that is confirmed after staring at the shield for a while is that this is not one piece of equipment, rather definitely an attachment to a regular shield. The shield Link is holding is definitely the wooden shield, but it is still unknown if you are able to properly block with this massive thing in front of you. Another thing to think about is if bullet time is returning. There certainly wasn't enough combat in this teaser to get any concrete information, but I'm wondering if the slowdown mechanic is returning to the sequel at all. This backflip didn't trigger any sort of flurry rush, although it could be a sidestep dodgeable attack that they dodged incorrectly to not trigger it, or this attack isn't flurry rushable at all. Nintendo has shown this mechanic off in previous Breath of the Wild original trailers, so they may be reworking mechanics behind the scenes, or the studio is simply not showing everything off in these trailers. Also, an important note just by seeing these islands in the sky are the island's wall textures. they seem very unfriendly for climbing, with aggressive, almost 45-degree walls at some points and jagged edges with almost no places to rest. It's possible that these sides are mechanically designed just like shrine walls, unclimbable and making you fall down if you attempt to climb it. If that's true, this empty gap where roads end may require a special skill to cross a gap of this size. You couldn't just jump and paraglide across this if the walls are unclimbable. While it could be as simple as some magic bridge that appears here, I'm still crossing my fingers for some sort of grapple arm ability, which, with this creature's similar energy and seemingly extendable neck design, could be a template for Link's extendable arm. And this has been in concept art before. I mean, crazier concept art has come true, so who knows. And those are all the points that I had that were worth bringing up. Of course, we're very excited for the next trailer and the final release, so we'll be delving very deep into the game when it comes out. As mentioned earlier, we still do tips, tricks, and breakdowns of the first Breath of the Wild, so stick around for everything Zelda, and keep it here on GameSpot.
The cycle of this world, I will not allow it to perish with you.
I seek to destroy the irrational power structure that shackles Fodlan.
If the kingdom is ever to part ways with our bloody past, this is the path we must walk.
I have ambitions, Edelgard. Real ones.
Will you sit around and wait for a miracle? Or will you help me seize control of my fate?
We shall fight, we shall survive, and we shall win a glorious future for Fodlan!
But now that I know, I won't make the same mistake again.
Revenge is not a thing you take for someone else. You seek revenge to slake your rage and heal your wounded heart. I know you are prepared to do whatever that you must.
Hello everyone, I'm Shinya Takahashi and I'll be your guide for today's Nintendo Direct. What you just saw was the trailer for the Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes game. We hope you'll look forward to a different story set in the same universe as Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Let's see the first batch of Nintendo Switch headlines.
The Orange Star Nation needs you. We've got more intel on the Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp game. In the first campaign, Advance Wars, you'll advise a colorful cast of commanding officers and use their abilities in vibrant turn-based battles. Each commanding officer is now voiced, bringing even more charm to these characters.
You're gonna get hurt!
I see right through your plans.
Another full campaign awaits in Advance Wars 2 Black Hole Rising. More commanding officers and more diverse terrain can be leveraged for additional tactical opportunities, like blasting through pipelines to cross into enemy territory. In both campaigns, you can fast-forward gameplay and reset your turns for a smoother tactical experience. Flex your strategic muscles outside of both campaigns with additional modes. Go for high scores in the War Room. Create and share custom maps in the Design Room. Or battle friends and frenemies in local and online multiplayer. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp marches onto the Nintendo Switch system April 8th. Pre-orders are available now on Nintendo eShop. Explore an infinite universe. In No Man's Sky, every star is the light of a distant sun, each orbited by planets teeming with life. Travel to planets of your choosing in this infinite, procedurally generated universe. Here, you'll discover extraordinary lands and creatures that have never been seen before and may never be seen again. To survive, you must craft your own tools and even your own place to live. In this living and breathing universe, trade convoys travel between stars. Factions vie for territory. Pirates hunt unwary travelers. And the authorities are ever watchful. Your journey may be fraught with danger, and actions have consequences. Traitor, fighter, explorer. How will you live in this universe? No Man's Sky lands on Nintendo Switch this summer.
Mario Strikers Battle League. Prepare for Strike, a 5-on-5 sport like soccer that's way heavy on offense. Aim for goals by dribbling and passing to teammates, as well as by using tackles, items, and crushing special shots. The main rule in this sport is to rule the field. Try to score more goals than your opponents. There are two things to keep in mind that'll help you with your strategies. First, the gear you equip. It changes not only your appearance, but also your stats like speed, strength, and pass accuracy. Customize as you see fit. Second, the Hyper Strike. To activate this shot, grab an orb when it appears on the field and charge it while your opponents are distracted. Hit the net and you'll score not one, but 2 goals. Up to 8 players, 4 players on each team can compete against each other on one Nintendo Switch system. In addition to individual matches, online play will have an online club mode. Join an in-game club and compete for placement in the rankings. Up to 20 players can join a club, so create your own and invite friends and family to play alongside you. Or join an existing one owned by other players. Try to become the world's top club. With items, tackles, and hyper strikes, anything goes on this field. Mario Strikers Battle League launches on Nintendo Switch June 10th. Pre-orders begin today on Nintendo eShop.
The latest iteration of the Mario Strikers series is coming to Nintendo Switch. We hope you're excited for this anything goes battle soccer game. Next, please take a look at this. That was the trailer for the co-op mode in the Splatoon 3 game, the next wave of Salmon Run. A giant salmonid, one that's never been seen before, was also spotted at the end of the trailer. Will the Inklings and Octolings ink or swim? Splatoon 3 will launch this summer. We hope you'll look forward to future updates. Let's move on to more Nintendo Switch headlines.
Bonzers at the ready. A full remake of the first Front Mission game is storming onto Nintendo Switch. In this tactical RPG, you'll pilot weaponized machines called Vanzers and lead your battalion to victory. Gain the upper hand in battle by aiming for enemy parts to destroy. Mix and match various weapons and parts to customize your Vanzer. Uncover the great storyline of this classic when Front Mission 1 Remake launches on Nintendo Switch this summer. And in the future, the sequel, Front Mission 2 Remake, will also launch on Nintendo Switch. Get set for a high-octane Disney and Pixar combat racer. From the creators of the Asphalt series comes rip-roaring racing action across Disney and Pixar-inspired racetracks. Race as a legendary roster of characters on high-speed circuits, using each one's special abilities to battle for victory across the finish line. Choose Mickey Mouse for symphonic speed, Sully for monstrous power, or Mulan for explosive maneuvers. Each racer also possesses powerful ultimate skills, perfect for turning the tables at the last second. Disney Speedstorm is a free-to-play game, with new seasons added regularly, bringing more exciting Disney and Pixar characters, circuits, karts, and more. Plus, enjoy cross-platform play, as well as split-screen and online multiplayer modes. Disney Speedstorm races onto Nintendo Switch this summer. Dive into these classic franchises on Nintendo Switch. Unleash the power of the Force in this classic Star Wars action-adventure. As Darth Vader's secret apprentice, you'll use devastating Force powers and lightsaber combos as you hunt down Jedi Masters on iconic planets. Upgrade abilities like Force Grip and Force Repulse, then combine them for even more destructive combos. Use button controls or opt for motion controls, enhanced from the original Wii version. You can also duel locally with a friend to determine who is the galaxy's most powerful Jedi. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed launches on Nintendo Switch April 20th. Pre-orders begin today on Nintendo eShop. The complete saga of legendary assassin Ezio Auditore da Firenze awaits in 3 critically acclaimed Assassin's Creed games. Explore Renaissance Italy and 16th century Constantinople. Interact with historical figures and discover secrets of the Creed across 3 games, 2 bonus short films, and DLC. Plus, take advantage of enhanced features for the Nintendo Switch system on the go, including touchscreen controls, HD Rumble, and optimized on-screen display. Assassin's Creed: The Ezio Collection launches on Nintendo Switch February 17th. Pilot mobile suits in dynamic action RPG battles. Strange incidents called breaks are occurring across the Gundam universe. Find out what's causing them and restore the proper timeline. You'll lead 3 mobile suits in battle. Enhance each suit with parts to improve their power. You can also battle alongside friends in online co-op multiplayer. SD Gundam Battle Alliance launches on Nintendo Switch this year. Two worlds cross in the triumphant return of this RPG classic. A remaster of the acclaimed RPG Chrono Cross is coming to the Nintendo Switch system. One fateful day, the protagonist Surge wanders into an alternate world. Though it somewhat resembles his home world, he finds that he no longer exists here. How did this happen? What is this mysterious another world? travel back and forth between both worlds to unravel the story. Over 40 characters can join your party. Depending on the choices you make, the allies who accompany you and the endings that trigger will differ. A number of improvements have been made to this remaster, like the ability to turn off enemy encounters and a newly enhanced soundtrack. Plus, Radical Dreamers, originally released on the Satellaview, is included. Experience the origins of Chrono Cross in this text-based adventure. Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers Edition, dashes and slashes its way onto Nintendo Switch April 7th. Pre-orders begin today on Nintendo eShop.
It's Kirby's latest unforgettable 3D platforming adventure, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It all takes place in a mysterious world with an unusual mix of nature and civilization. To rescue the kidnapped Waddle Dees, Kirby sets off on a new adventure. Introducing Mouthful Mode. Inhale a car to zoom around. A vending machine to attack with juice cans. Or become a piercing cone. With Mouthful Mode, new actions will be available for Kirby depending on the object he inhales. Enjoy exploring with new moves different from copy abilities. Kirby can even weaponize a mouthful of water, like this. As Kirby rescues Waddle Dees, Waddle Dee Town will continue to grow, and more resources will become available. At Waddle Dee's Weapon Shop, familiar copy abilities can be evolved. Evolve copy abilities to expand Kirby's range of attacks. They'll also change Kirby's appearance and make him even more powerful. Some copy abilities may have stronger evolved forms. A new adventure awaits our pink puffball. Who are the Beast Pack? What are these enemies trying to do? Can Kirby restore peace to this world? Kirby and the Forgotten Land launches on the Nintendo Switch system March 25th. Pre-orders are available now on Nintendo eShop.
That was Kirby and the Forgotten Land, launching later next month. Please look forward to its release. Let's take a look at some more Nintendo Switch headlines.
任天堂ディレクトをご覧の皆さん、こんにちは。バッターの大谷翔平です。ピッチャーの大谷翔平です。任天堂スイッチ上で今回初めて MLB 打賞22が楽しめるようになりました。それではこちらをご覧ください。
That's right, Otani-san. MLB The Show is coming to Nintendo Switch. That means you can play modes like Road to the Show and Diamond Dynasty on your Nintendo Switch. But that's not all. You can even play Exhibition with a single Joy-Con controller. With cross progression, you can also earn and use content on any platform where MLB The Show 22 is available. And take your progress on the go with you on Nintendo Switch. Have friends that play MLB The Show 22 online matches on other consoles? No need to worry. You can invite them and play online. I knew you were a true two-way player, but this is ridiculous. Sheesh.
You're gonna have your hands full of games with these collections. 3 Kingdom Hearts collections are almost here. From Kingdom Hearts to Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Remind DLC, every entry is coming to Nintendo Switch as cloud versions that can be played while connected to the internet. Relive or get to know these heart-filled adventures alongside Sora, Donald, Goofy, and more for the first time in TV, tabletop, or handheld mode. Kingdom Hearts Intergram Masterpiece for Cloud, containing all 3 game collections, soars onto Nintendo Switch tomorrow. Each collection's cloud version will also be individually available on Nintendo eShop. Klonoa is coming to Nintendo Switch. Across dreamy side-scrolling levels, you'll run, jump, and hover, while firing wind bullets to grab and throw enemies. Use each level's surroundings to your advantage. Also, Klonoa 2 is included. Take on these great adventures when Klonoa Fantasy Reverie Series launches on Nintendo Switch July 8th. We're so glad you're here. Come here often. Either way, you're in for a puzzling treat. In these award-winning games, the portal gun is your key to surviving imprisonment in a mysterious lab. Create portals and warp to other areas to find cake? Still unconfirmed. You can pass through portals, and so can cubes, lasers, and robots with unnerving levels of personality. The sequel adds in local, online, and split-screen multiplayer modes, and that part's no lie. Neither is the sentient robot monitoring your every move when Portal Companion Collection warps onto Nintendo Switch this year. A classic comes alive. Previously unreleased outside of Japan, the RPG Live Alive makes its overseas debut, now in HD 2D. Multiple stories featuring different protagonists and time periods await. The order in which you tackle them is up to you. Prehistory. A tribesman comes of age in a world without words. The Wild West. A wanderer with a bounty on his head fights for his life. Imperial China. A kung fu master searches for a worthy successor. Twilight of Edo, Japan. A shinobi undertakes an important secret mission. Present day, a martial artist strives to become the strongest there ever was. The near future, a youth with psychic powers takes a stand against evil. The distant future, a newly built robot is swept up in a tragedy in space. What other stories are on the horizon?
You will repay my loyalty in death!
Live Alive launches on Nintendo Switch July 22nd. Pre-orders begin today on Nintendo eShop.
How was that? Next up is this. It's a new iteration of the Wii Sports series. Nintendo Switch Sports. Please take a look.
Here are the sports included in the Nintendo Switch Sports game. You might recognize these 3 from past Wii Sports games. Tennis. Rally by gently swinging the Joy-Con controller at the right time. Bowling. Roll the ball straight ahead or give it a little curve. And Chambara. Knock your opponent off the platform while attacking and defending. Plus, 3 additional sports are joining the lineup. Soccer. Use a gigantic ball to make dynamic plays. Enjoy matches with Joy-Con controllers to shoot and perform diving headers. By attaching a Joy-Con controller to the leg strap accessory included with the physical version of the game, you can play shootout mode with intuitive kicking motions. Badminton. Control your shots left and right while keeping the shuttlecock in the air. Unleash powerful smash shots to gain the upper hand. Finally, volleyball. Use a Joy-Con controller to serve, bump, set, and spike the ball. The game supports local play with family and friends on one Nintendo Switch system, as well as online play across all sports. Play against friends online, or opt for random matchmaking. The more you win, the tougher the players you'll face. Try taking on this challenge.
How was that? Since I'm already here, I'd like to show you some gameplay of one of the newly added sports, volleyball.
Mr. Takahashi! Oh, hello there, everyone. I'm Yoshiaki Koizumi from Nintendo.
Wow, Mr. Koizumi, I can see you're ready to play. All right, I'll play some volleyball online together with Mr. Koizumi. Do you have your wrist strap ready?
Yes, of course. I've got plenty of space around me as well.
All right, let's start. We'll be including some live commentary throughout our match.
All right, we're doing this? Volleyball, a newly added sport in Nintendo Switch Sports. What can we expect today from the Takahashi Koizumi team? It's Koizumi to serve, with Takahashi up front. We begin with Koizumi serving. How will the opposing team react? Takahashi makes the block. Another one's coming. Koizumi saves it. A setup in the air, and here comes the spike. The other team saves it and fights back. And they score. Takahashi didn't quite get it in time. All right, well, it's okay. It's okay. The game's not over. Now the other team serves. Koizumi receives it. Takahashi sets it up. And Koizumi spikes, but it goes right toward the opponent. Here's another attack. Now's their chance. They get the ball, and with a setup from Koizumi, Takahashi scores! They got a point with that fierce spike.
Woo! Let's stop our match here.
After all, we were in the middle of a presentation. All right, I'll be leaving now.
That was an introduction to Nintendo Switch Sports. The game launches April 29th. We're planning a free update in the summer that allows you to play soccer matches with a Joy-Con controller and the leg strap accessory. You can use the accessory to play shootout mode at launch. In addition, we're also planning a second free update this fall that lets you enjoy golf. And now, a request to everyone. To help ensure that you can all enjoy playing online, we'll be having an online playtest before the game launches to evaluate various technical aspects. We'd definitely like to ask for your help with this. The online playtest will only be available for players with an active Nintendo Switch Online membership on the dates shown on screen. For those of you interested, please visit the official Nintendo website for more details. Thank you. That's all I have for now about Nintendo Switch Sports. I hope you're looking forward to this game. Let's see a few more Nintendo Switch headlines.
Get those taiko drumming skills ready. The latest Taiko no Tatsujin game is coming to the Nintendo Switch system. Set in Omiko City, a sacred town for taiko drums, you'll strive to become a taiko master, along with brand new character Kumo-kyun. Drum to dozens of boppin' beats, including Megalovania, Gurenge, Feel Special, and Racing into the Night. And that's not all. An orchestral version of the main theme from The Legend of Zelda is included. That's 76 songs total. Plus, take advantage of a practice mode to replay sections of songs as many times as you'd like. New modes have also been added for everyone to enjoy. Put on a live concert with up to 4 players in Donchen Band. Or face off against each other in Great Drum Toy War. Drum to your heart's content when Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythm Festival launches on Nintendo Switch this year. Plus, a paid in-game subscription service that gives you access to over 500 songs will be available at launch. What's new with these Nintendo Switch games? The brand new tactical RPG game Triangle Strategy is almost here. The protagonist Sarah Noah and his allies will be engulfed in the conflict among 3 nations. Your choices and conviction will determine their fate.
As Lord of House Wolford, I solemnly swear an oath by which all future lords shall be bound. I will never turn my back on the promise of a better world.
A new demo playable to the end of Chapter 3 will be available on Nintendo eShop later today. Save data from the demo can be transferred to the full game once purchased. More Cuphead action awaits in the paid DLC, Cuphead: The Delicious Last Course. Here, you'll explore a brand new Inkwell Isle, defeat a bevy of new bosses with wild personalities and even wilder attacks. The clever Miss Chalice is a new playable character. Take down fearsome foes with her double jumps, rolling dodges, and more. Cuphead: The Delicious Last Course wallops its way onto Nintendo Switch June 30th. A free update is coming to the Metroid Dread game. All it takes is one hit. Even from this. Getting hit even once causes a game over in the brutal Dread Mode difficulty. Can you face this new challenge? And for players new to the Metroid series, take advantage of increased recovery with the newly added Rookie Mode difficulty. This free update launches later today. A second free update in April will add a boss rush mode, in which you'll battle bosses continuously, one at a time. Something's bound for Nintendo Switch. Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings will be added to Nintendo Switch Online later today.
What did you think? Here's some news for Mario Kart fans. Many of you have been enjoying the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe game since its launch in 2017. So, we've been working on remastering select courses from across the Mario Kart series, and we'll be releasing them as paid downloadable content. Please take a look at this trailer.
Paid DLC courses will be coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. You may recognize some courses from past Mario Kart games. 8 courses will be released at a time over 6 waves. That's 48 additional courses we plan on releasing by the end of 2023. Courses such as Coconut Mall, Chaco Mountain, and Tokyo Blur will be included in the first wave. Of course, you can play these courses locally and online. The first wave of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass will launch March 18th. Pre-orders begin today on Nintendo eShop. You can enjoy this DLC at no additional cost with a Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack membership, or purchase the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass on its own.
How was that? I hope you're looking forward to the additional courses in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This next segment will be our last announcement. Please take a look.
Fighting in order to live, and living to fight. That's the way of our world. Ionios.
Tell me, what would possess you to side with them?
We're fighting because there are enemies to kill.
I refuse to believe you're him.
I knew it. I saw this coming.
You're not enemies now.
Fine for you, isn't it? All that time you've got.
You could try to move forwards again.
How can our lives be so snuffing little to you?
They're not your friends anymore. They're his fuel.
Sword march. The land pierced by a great sword. It's the only way you're gonna defeat the real enemy.
Whatever life is lost, I won't let you soldier it all alone.
What good filling up these flickering clocks in our eyes? It'll never replace the friends we've lost.
The flame clock, it has to go!
Ouroboros abhor this world. They must be erased without a trace.
The story of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 ties together the futures of the worlds depicted in Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and it will launch this September. I hope you'll look forward to it. That's all for today's Nintendo Direct. Thank you for watching.